The word of the day is accountability. And it involves Tupac Shakur. You want to hear this? Let's get into some of the straight game.
Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up button notification. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and hit that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day is accountability. I'm going to say it again. The word of the day is accountability. Right? There's been so many stories told about Tupac. There have been so many lies told about Tupac. So many half-truths. So many stories that may make a lot of people appear to be more interesting than they really are in regards to Tupac. But let's be clear. Tupac, when he got out of jail on October 12th, 1995, and he passed on September 13th, 1996, right? So 11 months. 11 months. And all of the stories that have been told, there were certain things that happened that certain people were accountable for, right? And I'm going to touch on this. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. I came across some audio just recently that I've never really heard before. I never really heard it before. And it explained to me a lot in regards to why Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. didn't like Frank Alexander. Liars never like people who actually tell the truth, because it exposes the liar for who they really are. And as long as people can carry on with lies, misinformation, attempts to discredit somebody, defame people by calling them names, calling them gay, calling them, genie deal, calling them, whatever they can call a person, a snitch, they can call them various things. When a person does that, what they're trying to do is they're trying to take your attention off of the facts, and hopefully that you'll be entertained by the little ghetto games, I call them, you can call them names, talk about his tennis shoes, what are those, and so on and so forth, right? But the person that's doing that is the person who has the most flaws. And so I came across this audio in which I never saw. You've heard Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. talk about on Vlad. He basically said, he talked about, Frank was lying. Frank Alexander said one thing, but then when he wrote his book, he started to say another. That wasn't really true. But since Frank, may he rest in peace, is not here anymore, can't defend himself. But Frank did say something that was so important in this recent audio that I came across, and I'm going to let you hear it right now. I want you to, when the situation went down in Vegas, and it was up to the person who not only Suge had asked for more security, right? But Frank Alexander said that he had told Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. that they needed more security. And Frank Alexander basically explained when they were at Suge's house and Suge wanted to know what happened from Frank's perspective, because Frank was the one that was on Tupac that night. This is what Frank said that actually happened. And I want you to listen very closely to who was ultimately responsible for the security of Tupac Shakur. Listen to this.
Tupac and Alexander are alone in a crowd with no radio or weapon.
I think this needs to be let out. To me, that's the beginning of our downfall.
I go, I don't own Right Way Security. I work for Reggie. I go, there should have been more security with us. I go, I had already asked you and told you that we needed more bodyguards on Pac. I go, I asked for more security. I go, he goes, well, what happened to Michael Moore? He was with you that day. I said, he was called to go back over to 662. And every answer I gave Suge was answers that Reggie should have been giving Suge or Suge should have known. So then Suge says to me, he goes, no, I'm sorry, he says to Reggie, he goes, Reg, he goes, what's up? You know, what was the breakdown in security? And Reggie was like, and Al was a supervisor, and now here's the finger being pointed again. So I'm sitting there still, and then all of a sudden the phone rings, right? Suge gets the phone, he had the phone, he answers the phone, and he stands up, and he throws the phone, bang, right across the table, right? I'm like, oh shit. I looked at the pool, and I go, I'm going for a swim. He turns around, and he says, can nobody fucking save him now? And he's in tears, right? And he goes, he just died.
When it came time to be accountable for one's job and one's responsibility, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has not, up until this day, taken responsibility for being negligent, for being irresponsible, for his dereliction of duty involving the protection and ultimately the demise of Tupac Shakur. I want to play it one more time. Listen to what Frank said when confronted by Suge and when Reggie was confronted by Suge at Suge Knight's house after Tupac had got shot. And the crazy part was, as they sat in the house, the phone had rang and Suge was notified that Tupac had passed. Listen to this.
Tupac and Alexander are alone in a crowd with no radio or weapon.
I think this needs to be let out. To me, that's the beginning of our downfall.
I go, I don't own Right Way Security. I work for Reggie. I go, there should have been more security with us. I go, I had already asked you and told you that we needed more bodyguards on Pac. I go, I asked for more security. I go, he goes, well, what happened to Michael Moore? He was with you that day. I said, he was called to go back over to 662. And every answer I gave Suge was answers that Reggie should have been giving Suge or Suge should have known. So then Suge says to me, he goes, no, I'm sorry, he says to Reggie, he goes, Reg, he goes, what's up? You know, what was the breakdown in security? And Reggie was like, and Al was a supervisor, and now here's the finger being pointed again. So I'm sitting there still, and then all of a sudden the phone rings, right? Suge gets the phone, he had the phone, he answers the phone, and he stands up, and he throws the phone, bang, right across the table, right? I'm like, oh shit. I looked at the pool, and I go, I'm going for a swim. He turns around, and he says, can nobody fucking save him now? And he's in tears, right? And he goes, he just died.
Now, as you heard Frank Alexander say, when Suge got the phone call, right? Suge threw the phone up against the wall. And Suge had tears in his eyes. He was crying. He was visibly upset. Number one, that doesn't sound like somebody who was involved with Tupac's murder. And that's coming from Frank. First-hand observation, you know, first-hand information, right? So that tells me right there what it was versus what it wasn't. right? But Frank didn't say anything about Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. crying or feeling any kind of bad way. The only thing that Frank said about Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was all he did was obfuscate and pass the buck. See, some people only like to be responsible or be involved when it's time to accept a win. You know, when the team is winning, you know, they right there, up front smiling. But when the team takes a loss, some of those same people are in the back, or better yet, they've already gone off into the locker room, if you will, the proverbial locker room, if you will, right? Because they don't want to be seen now, because they didn't win. But true character is shown. A true man is identified when you take a loss and you see how the person handles the loss. Because the game ain't over. They still go, or should I say the season ain't over, meaning life, right? You still got a chance to get up and try it again. But a true man is judged at that moment, because he can get up in front of the cameras like he did during the win and accept the loss and explain the part that he played in the loss or did not play in the loss. So that night in Las Vegas, not only did Suge Knight say to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. that they would need more security for Tupac, right? Which you guys already know. But this new audio that's new to me, I don't know if it's new to some of you guys, but explains everything to me. When it came down time to explain why Tupac Shakur was not secured like he was supposed to be, and every effort was made to pull Michael Moore off of Tupac, because Michael Moore was the only person who refused to relinquish his weapon, right? And Frank Alexander was the only person left on Tupac that night. So much so that they walked through there's the video of them walking through the MGM Grand, Tupac walking a little bit ahead of Frank Alexander. Now you understand why Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. didn't like Frank Alexander? Because Frank told the truth. And all Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been doing is lying. And trying to 1 minute be on the side of law enforcement. The next minute he wants to be a gangster. The next minute he wants to be whatever, he can camouflage himself into, at this particular time. Especially when it involves some money. And so, the word of the day, like I said, accountability. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has never accepted the accountability for the part that he played. And Tupac Shakur not being protected that night in Vegas. But also for pulling the security off of Tupac Shakur that night in Vegas. Even after his boss, Suge, Marion Suge Knight, told him that he would need more security for Tupac Shakur. And like I said, Suge said it, but this new audio shines a whole new light on this situation, for me at least. And it's actually sad, because Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been out here on this soapbox, this death row expert, this Tupac, conversation about who Tupac has slept with and the things that he said that other people told him that he wasn't actually there firsthand for. But the very thing The very thing that he was actually responsible for, he hasn't accepted accountability for it. But he knows everybody else's business. He knows Shaq business. He knows Suge business. He knows Michelle A business. He knows Dr. Dre's business. He knows DJ Quick's business. He knows Daz's business. He knows Snoop's business. But the very business that he was supposed to know on September 7th, 1996, when confronted by Suge Knight at Suge Knight's house, according to Frank Alexander, he cowered away and blamed it on Al Giddens, when the buck actually stopped with him. You see, they tried everything with me. They tried to talk about me, all of this other these little names that they came up with. Once again, that is the elementary school shiny object tactic. Laugh at my jokes. Don't listen to what he's saying, because you might learn something. But today, looking at this video, my advice to you, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, I'm just going to advise you. Do not believe anything that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. says. He has done nothing but lie. And last but not least, the word of the day. He hasn't accepted, involving the security, dereliction of duty, malfeasance, straight up jealousy and hate of Tupac Shakur. Like I said, the word of the day was accountability. And Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., up until this day, as I speak right now, has not accepted the accountability involving the death of Tupac Shakur. The very thing that he was responsible for protecting, according to Suge Knight.
Those guys, if you go back and watch the film, they was already stalking Pac, like watching him. So that just tipped the iceberg when something happened. But there was a plan already to do something to him.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I said, I had two of the toughest guys for him, and Reggie pulled them off of me. And after it happened, I told him to send 5 guys from the club to there, and they never said nobody.
And according to his employee at that time, Frank Alexander, these are not my words. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.